Good evening, girls and guys. We are at Stoke Suspension Works in Woodstock, and we with Drew, the legend, the man. He's in person, he's here with us. We're on a Banshee bike, and he's going to take us through a quick bike check with Enduro coming up on the 10th of December. We want you guys to check your bikes sooner than later. I think a lot of people come and they check their bikes in the week before the Enduro, and then they have to bring it into Drew, and he's got 2 days to fix it, if that. They might pop in on a Friday morning.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. And then you're wanting your bike back to race, and it's just not possible. So we've got 3 weeks till the Enduro, and it's probably the best time now to check your bike. So Drew's going to take us through a bike check and what you should look out for. Cool.
Cool. Well, first thing is, did you notice anything on your last ride? Did it squeak? Did it rattle? Did it make any funny noises? Was it doing something that you didn't want it to?
It's always handy to know.
And then the next one is, I'm just assuming the basics, like you've got enough sealant and your brakes work and all of that kind of stuff, because this is useful. The rest of it we'll go through now.
You've got a very fancy multi-tool in your hand.
Yes. This
Where do we find something like that?
Just on the counter over there. There's either that or there's a website. There's a mate of ours, Rule, that makes them.
Cool. Guys, it's a really awesome multi-tool. So we'll get the link from Drew and we'll pop it down below. So if you need a really well-made multi-tool, this is probably one of those you should get.
Yeah, it is a very useful little piece of kit. Cool. So I'm going to basically just go through the bike from one end to the other, because you start on the one end and then work your way through, because then you don't miss anything. So starting at the front, grab a handful of front brake, rock the bike backwards and forwards, check for any knocking noises, check for any play. It might be in the headset, it might be your brakes, it might be your front hub, it might be your fork.
Okay.
So if there's any kind of knocking noise, just check it out, make sure that everything is adjusted. Look up, if it's your headset, look up how to sort a headset out. If it's a front axle, just make sure it's tight. If it's your brakes, make sure they're tight.
And then, sorry, you were saying as well, we're chatting off camera, and the torque settings for all of these bolts are on the pieces.
Torque settings for anything will either be printed on the bolt or they'll be in the manual for whatever, either the frame, if it's a frame, it'll be on the manufacturer's website. If it's anything else, there's some standard torque specs for like brake rotor bolts and for pedals and for axles and that kind of stuff. Just if you're not sure, just look it up.
Yeah, guys, please don't over tighten. It's not good for the bike.
Over tightening is not great. Too loose, also you run the risk of the thing falling apart on the run, which is, a race run. Either you are going to lose time or you're going to lose teeth. So now that you've checked there's no play or funny noises coming from the front end, we are going to check your brake bolts. Just make sure those are tight. Then while we're here, check cranks, make sure there's no play. Check pivot bolts. So the easiest way to do that is just to grab the seat tube and just wiggle your wheel backwards and forwards like that. If there's any play there, could be rear axle, could be any of your pivots.
Okay.
That's like those between the cranks, pivots, wheels, brakes. Those are the biggest ones you need to be checking out. And then the rest of it is basically, again, start from the front, just run through all your bolts, just give them a nip. You don't need to tighten them any further, but just make sure that they haven't come loose.
Yeah. And then also probably just your stem as well.
Stem bolts, brake bolts, these are things that generally don't come loose.
Okay.
Like if you've torqued them down properly the first time.
And then people say, this is again me just asking a question, I'm sure the guys out there will probably ask the same. They say don't over tighten your brake levers so that they give way when you fall.
Don't over tighten brake levers. Two reasons for that. One of them is that if you've got, particularly we've got carbon bars, you can make a little nick in your carbon bar.
Okay.
As soon as the carbon bar's got a nick in it, game over.
Yeah.
And then also, if you crash, it's easier if the thing can move out the way, because that is much better than a broken lever.
Yes.
And you can just roll it back again, carry on.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. That's good to know. Cool. So we've done bolts, front, brake bolts, all of the headset. We've checked pivots. We've checked our cranks. Checked the rear brake bolts. Is there anything else?
Then it's basically lube your chain, take it for a test ride, make sure that any of those weird squeaks or rattles have gone away.
Yeah. On SRAM, they say check the bolt on the derailleur.
Yes, that was the other one. Yeah, so that it goes on the bolt check. If you've gone front to back, you should have picked it up. But a very important one with SRAM 11 and 12 speed is that bolt over there, because that quite often does come loose, and that can cause your shifting to go for a loop. At best, at worst, your derailleur falls off and gets stuck in your spokes.
Okay, cool. And
it doesn't happen often, but it did happen to a mate of ours the other night.
Okay, so with race day coming up, we want to make sure. So check all your bolts. If there's a bolt in your bike, check it.
Like stupid little bolts. There's one that holds that
the jockey
wheel
wheels.
on. There's another one there. Wherever you see a bolt, just make sure it doesn't come loose.
Yeah. Cool. Is there anything else other than bolts on I think that's pretty much it.
Look, pre-race check, you want to make sure you've got enough sealant. You want to make sure your tyre pressures are good. You want to make sure that your suspension pressures are good.
Yeah.
Set your sag, or just check your sag. Check it with full kit.
Yeah.
Because
you
might have some extra water, because an enduro is usually a big day out, so you might have some extra water. You might have some extra tools, like sack of bananas, bag of raisins, bag of nuts, all of that.
And then just regarding while we've got through, is there anything like that you'd like must-haves that you'd have in your backpack for an enduro? So cable ties, I don't know.
Yeah, look,
some chicken wire.
Blowdraad and a tongue. Yeah, look, multi-tool, chain lube, but like a little bottle.
Okay.
Maybe a little, like spare tube.
Okay.
Snacks.
Yes, food. Food's always a good thing.
Like, I'm not going to go the full trail run pack list route where they tell you to bring a space blanket and a spare flipping pair of legs.
Fair enough.
But take some snacks, make sure you've got enough water.
Cool.
And
yeah,
mechanically it's just like if you want to go the whole route, little bottle of sealant, little bottle of chain lube, multi-tool with a chain breaker, quick links, zip ties.
That's some handy information right there. So make a note of that, guys. We're going to list all of those things below so that you can get them into your bag. I think the other one that we also probably should, I think Drew and I probably just miss it, is plugs for your tires.
Yes.
So make sure you know how to plug a tire. YouTube's out there. So YouTube's not always great for a lot of things, but for those kind of things, it's fine. So you'll be able to learn how to plug your tire. So that's another thing to add to the list, and we'll add to everything at the bottom. Drew, thank you so much. If you guys have any issues with your bikes, their details are going to be down below. Great shop to come to. Friendly guys most of the time. They have cold beer. They love coffee. And that's all you need to know. So bring your bike around. Make sure you don't bring it around the day before Enduro. So please, after this video, go have a look, get your bike checked out, and we'll see you on race day. Thank you.
Okay. Enjoy.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.